Welcome back to the Life Legacy Podcast. And today, as always, we bring on phenomenal guests. And today is no different. You are going to get to hear from an amazing leader that really came from the depths of nothing and was able to build such an amazing life and become such an amazing leader. And his story actually starts in Chile, and he moves around the world a little bit to get to where we are here in Utah. But from one of the first times I met him, just a phenomenal guy with a core of being a good person that's doing amazing things. And so today I'm honored to be able to bring on Hondo Vargas to the podcast. And so welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, just to help the audience get to know you a tiny bit, what fires you up? What are you passionate about?
Well, I'm passionate about my family and, being a dad, my relationship with God. Those are things that I'm passionate about. What fires me up is a challenge. If I see an obstacle, as I said before, it's like a dog on a bone. I want to overcome that. So I've done some crazy things in life that I've done them just because they're there. And I think I can overcome that. I bet I can figure that out. So I just go after it. And even though it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to do certain things, I just do it because I find it to be challenging. So a challenge fires me up. An obstacle fires me up.
The challenge.
Right.
And guys, when you hear this story, as he has told me some of his story, my jaw was like dropped. It's really amazing to hear where you came from and what built you. And yeah, challenge is probably a great word to describe majority of what you've gone through in life to get to where you are now.
Yeah.
And right now, what's kind of going on in your world?
Presently I started a company called Club Paddock with my son Angelo. So the two of us are running that. That started about a year ago, and that was my retirement plan. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started the process of exiting my last marketing agency that I was with. Awesome business, Squeeze. I had a partner there, Carson, great guy. We had a great thing going, but I was like, all right, dude, I got to get out of here. I want to go ride my bicycle and just have fun, And exited that and decided to start a passion project with my son. I wanted to do something with him. I'm not a car guy. He's the car guy. I'm a total fake car guy. I just wanted to be with my son and build a business with him, and perhaps teach him how to run a business. And one day just, okay, now you take it. Now you've got the formula, go do this, And that's what we're doing. I'm hoping to build a viable business with him that he can take and grow and build into something much bigger. He's got all the energy, all the ideas, and he's got the youth behind him to do that. And I'm just doing it because I want to do it with him, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying what this is turning into. It's not what I thought it would be. It's kind of taking a life of its own, and I'm just letting it do its thing, and it's been fun.
I mean, I've been to Club Paddock a couple times, and it's a phenomenal experience. Mm-hmm. And, add anything you want to this, but you show up and you're surrounded by the nicest cars you've ever seen. And you get in a room with some of the most phenomenal people in Utah at these events. And I mean, there's like podcast studio, there's golf simulators. It's just one of the greatest places to hang out. So it wasn't really what you imagined, it sounds like.
We thought, my son and I, Angela and I, thought this was going to be just a car club for car guys, and car guys would come and hang out. And there is some of that, right? But it's really turning into a social club and a community of businessmen, entrepreneurs, investor types that like to come to Paddock to entertain, to hang out, to meet people. So every time we do an event, those events are very unique. We've done private concerts, community, charity events, casino nights, poker nights. Last night we did a sound bath event. Our first one, we're calling it Wellness Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, we're going to do a wellness something, sound bath, yoga, breath work, whatever.
It's amazing.
So it's different things for different people. We have a watch event, a watch collector event this Friday. So it's like different flavors. So it brings the community together for different likes or things people, are attracted to. And I don't know why. I honestly no idea why we attract really high quality of humans. And it's every event is like, oh my gosh, that dude is here. I'm like, I have no idea why he or she came, but like the people that come to Paddock for the events enjoy themselves. It's a safe place. I hear that a lot. It's like, it's my oasis. Members tell me that. I feel like it's an oasis. I can show up, it's safe. I can meet people, I can entertain clients, and I never feel that I'm being sold or I'm being pitched, or it's like one of those, speed dating networking events. It's not
Yeah,
like that. It's a social.
it's cleaner, like good building relationships with the type of people you want to build.
Yeah. And I just want people to have a good time. And I feel like
You've done a phenomenal job at that.
yeah, I feel if you build a relationship and a friendship first, trust comes after that. And then transactions happen. And that's great. I'm sure there's transactions happening amongst our members, but I'm not pushing for that. I'm just pushing for people to come and have a good time in an environment where it's safe for them and their spouses.
Well, yeah, it's been fun to go to those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think last thing before we jump into your childhood, and guys, it's insane. But what has it been like, and what has it meant to you to be able to work with your son?
It's awesome. I mean, I love it. It keeps us connected, as he gets older, and as a father, we carry titles. We men carry titles. You can be this. You're a CEO. You're a founder. You're a creator. You're a father. You're a husband. You carry all these titles. The title that I carry with the most pride is the title of father. To be a dad. I love being a dad. It's the thing that I love the most. And with Angelo, my oldest, I missed a big chunk of his childhood because I was working. I was the CEO, and I was running all this stuff, and I was gone all the time. So I'm trying to make up for it, honestly. Being with him now and giving him what I have, teach him how to run a business and how to evolve from a founder to running a business that is meaningful and creating, his own vision for that. I want him to experience that with me.
It's so special, so amazing that you get to work together.
Yeah. It's been good.
I mean, I think with the wisest, most well-rounded leaders I've ever met that have reached levels of billions and all of that, typically their greatest accomplishment is being a family man. And I'm just curious, for you to hold the title of father, why do you feel like that has brought you the most fulfillment, or, what has made it so special to carry that title?
I don't know, dude. Ever since I became a dad, I love being a dad. I just love. It's the most rewarding thing that I find in my life. I have Angelo, who's 27 today, and I just love being a dad. He and I have experienced a lot of things together. My daughter Alexia, who just got married 3 weeks ago. That was one of the most remarkable moments of my life to have her begin that chapter. She had a twin sister, Mia, who passed a long time ago, shortly after her birth. And even though I haven't experienced being a dad to her, I've experienced being a dad to her in my own way, and I believe in God and all those things, and I believe there is a connection with those. And I've experienced my daughter, Mia, multiple times throughout my life, and that's been so special. And I have my 10-year-old Liam, who's my little guy, and I love being a dad to Liam. And it's a completely different way of parenting now, that I have time and freedom. And he's my little guy, and I just love being a dad. I would have 10 more if I could, Yeah.
Do you have any experience that you'd feel comfortable to share that you've had with Mia that's passed?
If I share the most special, I'll end up crying here in a minute. I can just tell you that she has been present throughout my life and my daughter's, Alexia's life. I mean, without sounding creepy or weird, I've seen her. I saw her when she was a year old, clear as day as I see you. And it was, for me, that was like such reaffirmation that, what I believe is real in my personal set of beliefs and core values, and that was special. I carry this. There's an M there.
Yeah.
That's for Mia. But I feel her presence. I had an accident. I'm a cyclist. I ride bicycles, road bikes, and I was hit by a school bus on her birthday. So my daughter and Mia, they're born on December 16th. I was hit by a school bus on that day. I had no business riding a bicycle in the middle of winter, but I wanted to bike. And this school bus driver didn't see me and hit me. I wasn't wearing a helmet because it was too cold. It's the middle of winter, so I had a beanie. Dude, and I should have died. And I can assure you that I have every confidence that the reason why I didn't die is because my guardian angel Mia took care of me that day on her birthday. I have broken bones or whatever, but there is no reason why I shouldn't have died that day except for she was there taking care of her dad while he's getting run over by a school bus, So people say I've actually been hit by a bus,
Wow.
That was about 14, 15 years ago.
Being a father that's lost a daughter, what was that experience? What did that teach you?
Faith. It gave me it reinforced my faith. I mean, it was painful, because when we have a child, it doesn't matter. The minute you hold them, you love them as if you've held them for 20 years. It doesn't matter. One day, 20 years. And I wanted her to be here with us, But it taught me that, you can't just have faith and not have a conviction and the actions that go with that. So it's giving me a lot of energy to stay true to my faith so I can receive the gift of having her again. And that's one of the things that drives my connection with God, is that I know that if I do my part, He will give me the gift of having her again.
I don't know if this was similar in your experience or not, and it doesn't matter either way. I'm just curious. I've just noticed in my own life when my dad passed, speaking with a lot of people that have lost people, they've felt God either a lot more or a lot less during that time, and I'm just curious if you remember any experiences or moments where you felt God closer in those harder moments.
Oh, yeah. So when my daughters were born, they were both preemies. Mia weighed a pound, Alexia weighed 1.5 pounds, and they had a million complications. And I can tell you that that period of time in the NICU for 72 days is the closest I've ever been to God. The closest. I've never in my life been so close. I'm LDS, I served an LDS mission, and as a missionary, I was pretty close to God. But the period of time when my daughters were in the NICU and I was there literally 72 days, day and night, like I did not leave the hospital except for a shower and come right back. They didn't see me at the office for 72. I couldn't care less. The only thing I cared about was my daughters. And I've never been so close to God. I've never been so close. The experiences I had were unbelievable, undeniable. I mean, I will never leave my faith and my conviction, and for many reasons, but the experiences I had at the hospital with my daughters were something else and undeniable for me,
Do you have any specific experiences that sometimes when I look back on those special moments, there's kind of like a video that plays in my mind, or do you have anything that's like that for you?
Many. I knew my daughter Mia was going to die. The doctor had told me they couldn't save her. The nurse, I remember the nurse bringing her to me, and I'm holding her. She was the size of an American Girl doll, like the tiniest thing, but she was perfect, And she had dressed her. She had a little cute dress, a little necklace. It was so cute. And I'm just holding her in the NICU. I knew that she had hours or days. We didn't know. And I remember saying a prayer, and in our faith, you bless your children. And I had this distinct impression that I had to bless her and give her a name. So I did that. I gave her a name and a blessing in the hospital with nurses and doctors running around in the NICU. It was mayhem. And here I am blessing my daughter. And I had this impression that I had to do it right away. So I did that. And as I'm blessing her, I gave her a name, Mia Alejandra. All my kids carry my name. My given name is Alejandro. And I had the distinct impression to tell her that she had done what she needed to do, which was survive long enough for Alexia to survive, you know. And I said that it was okay for her to go back to Heavenly Father, that this was her time, that she had my permission to go. And as soon as I said amen, I kid you not, dude, it was like the snap of a finger. She's breathing and moving, and she stopped breathing and moving at that instant. It wasn't a minute later, it wasn't an hour later, it was the minute I said, you can go back home. I love you. All these things. I don't remember exactly the prayer, but I do remember clearly telling her it was her time to go and it was okay. And I remember holding her, and immediately feeling her movement stops, her breathing stops, and I opened my eyes and she had passed as I was holding her. And that was really special for me to be able to give her that and know that her passing was, she was waiting for that blessing, you know? And it was such a blessing for me to be able to do that as a father, you know? So, you know, I treasure that memory.
Thank you for sharing. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And to anyone that might be listening and, you know, going through their first experience with grief or losing a loved one, what would you want to say to that person if they came to you saying, like, I don't know what to do?
I mean, not everybody believes in God, right? We all have different beliefs. My belief is that there is life after death, and that if we do our part, God blesses us. And one of the blessings that I hold on to is that I can have my family for forever, right? And I, you know, with my mom and my dad, who both passed, and my daughter, I know I'll be with them. And I don't think Heavenly Father gives us a family just to experience them for a blink of an eye. Like, the time in this life is so short, right? The older I get, the quicker time goes, you know, and like, it's in the blink of an eye, my 10-year-old will be getting married. I know that. And I don't think Heavenly Father blesses us with these deep relationships with your kids, with your spouse, with your parents, just to take him away. A loving father doesn't do that. So what would I tell him is to believe that Heavenly Father intends for us to have that again. And I have the conviction that I will. So I stick to that.
Love that. And I agree completely. I think in my experience, losing my dad, I've always had this really high hope and a peaceful feeling that I get to be with him again.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people and people really close in my life that, you know, don't believe that. And I wish everyone is able to feel that.
Right.
And if you're not certain, I would just invite you to pray and ask if you'll get to see them again. And I can promise that you'll receive some type of answer that you need in that time. Let's go back to your story. Thank you so much for sharing such emotional, amazing experience here. I didn't know or think that our conversation would go that way, and so I'm grateful that it has happened, though. And but let's go to your childhood. Kind of paint me a picture of.
My childhood was wild, dude. My dad died a year ago, and the only thing I regret is not in a reunion more often to get more details, because I was 5-6 years old when our life took a turn. We were in Chile. I was born in Chile, in Santiago. My dad was a doctor, And he worked for the Allende government. Allende was overthrown by a dictator called Pinochet in 1973, 74. And I was a kid, and I don't remember what was happening, but I do remember my dad disappearing from Chile overnight because he'd become a political adversary because he worked for the prior government, And long story short,
Yeah. So what does that look like? If your dad is a public enemy to a dictator, what does that?
So
what
my
does
dad
that
was
do?
an MD, and he was in charge of military hospitals in a large region of Chile. So he had like a military, he was like, I don't know, general or whatever it was. But I remember he had a bodyguard, he had a driver. I had my own nanny. My brother had a nanny. My sister had a nanny. We were like pretty wealthy. Like we were set for life, I guess. Back in the day, we had a big house and whatever.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Allende is overthrown. He's literally killed in Santiago by the military. The Pinochet government shows up, and anybody that was involved with the prior government in high levels becomes a public enemy number one. So that was my dad.
Wow.
And he showed up on the newspapers as a person of interest. You need to show up for questioning. And he's like, if I hide, I look guilty. So he goes and shows up to this interview. They throw him in jail. And no judge, no nothing. It's just, okay, lock you up in here, And
Do you
then
remember realizing or finding out that your dad was in prison?
we knew he was gone to an interview, and then 2-3 days later, he's nowhere to be found. My mom was just going nuts. What's crazy is that a military dude that's supposed to come and interview him and question him shows up and recognizes him. And he's like, Dr. Vargas, what are you doing here? It turns out that my dad had delivered that dude's kids. And so this guy gets him a military uniform, dresses him up, and walks him out of the prison and says, you need to leave town right now because you're not getting out of here. So he helps him escape, like a movie type thing.
Oh my gosh.
And he goes home. We pack whatever we could pack. We don't pack our dog. We left the house. We left everything. And we go to Santiago. We were in Osorno. We go to Santiago, escaping, basically. And we go live with my grandparents. And my dad gets a visa or asylum, whatever, in Venezuela. So he books it to Venezuela. And we go from being pretty wealthy to being destitutes in Santiago, living with my grandparents, who were essentially in Social Security. Like they weren't wealthy. They had a little apartment.
So you just went from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, my mom couldn't get a job. And she had a college degree, a couple. She was very smart, but she was the wife of a political enemy, so nobody was going to hire her. So she ends up working for the Catholic Church, for an archbishop at a library, making minimum wage, I guess. And I remember we didn't go to school for a year because we couldn't. We were like poor. I wore the same socks, same shoes, and same outfit like for a year, living with my grandparents. We were broke, And I was like, I don't know, 6 years old. But I remember my grandparents' house. I remember eating crappy yogurt that my grandpa would make from nothing, and he'd make us eat that in the morning, and it tasted like crap. And I had to eat this yogurt because it was all we had,
Gosh.
It was interesting. My mom left to go to Venezuela Christmas Day in the morning. And I don't know how she did it. She left the morning of Christmas and had left a big old pile of gifts for each of the kids next to the Christmas tree. And we had no money. I had no idea how she managed that. But she did that to soften the blow that she was leaving us. Because she had to go to Venezuela. She had to go help my dad get a job. She get a job and build something over there. And I didn't see my parents for another year. So I lived with my grandparents. And it got to the point where my brother and I lived with one set of grandparents. My sister lived with the other set of grandparents. I didn't see my sister for a year. And I didn't see my parents for a year. And we thought, my brother and I thought we had imagined my sister, that we had made her up, that she wasn't real. So when we got reunited, a week before we're heading back to Venezuela together, like we're taking a flight finally to get reunited, we see my sister and we're like, and she was the older sister, she was 2 years older. She was 9, we're 7. We thought we had imagined her. And when we saw her again, we thought, first we thought she was so pretty. And then we thought she was real. You know?
What did that mean to you?
I mean, when you're a child, you know, you're so fragile, you know. So I'm pretty close to my brother, Javier, because of those experiences, you know. Being reunited with my mom and dad in Venezuela a year later was amazing, you know. I love my mom. I was angry with my dad because I thought he had left us, you know. I wasn't angry at my mom. It was interesting how you process things as a child, you know. But I remember those things. I remember like they happened yesterday. Those are memories that are very clear in my mind. Seeing my sister again, arriving at the airport in Venezuela, seeing one of those escalators for the first time and not knowing how to climb it without falling. You know, it's just weird things you remember. I remember seeing my mom after that. It's amazing.
I mean, I'm just trying to think what that does to your mental state as a kid. Your dad's going to an interview. You don't see him for days. You see your mom panicking, in probably some of the worst ways.
Right.
Also, so special. Your dad's in jail, but because of his work, you know, helping give the delivery of the guard.
And of all people, the dude that shows up is a dude that recognizes that he delivers babies. Like, he gets him out of there. Who knows what happened with that guy? I mean, he's risking his life by doing that.
Oh,
but yet he helps my dad literally escape.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. I mean, my dad had his own crazy life story. You know, I was just along for the ride. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so then you're all separated. You come back. You have this reunion with your family in Venezuela.
Right.
Tell me a tiny bit more about that.
We get to Venezuela, dude, and we're immigrants in Venezuela, you know, and it was a completely different culture than Chile. The people are different. The music is different. The food is different. We all speak Spanish, but it's a different way of speaking Spanish. The whole thing was so different to me, I remember. But I was just happy to be with my family. We were still broke. My dad had just been in Venezuela for a year. He couldn't work as a doctor yet because it takes 2 years for residency. So he was going through that process. So my mom was working all kinds of jobs. My dad was working jobs while getting his residency so he could be a doctor. So for the first year or two in Venezuela, we were, you know, pretty poor. My mom and dad wanted us to get the best education. So they sent us to a private school, an elite private school called La Salle, run by Catholic priests. And it was the wealthiest people went to, and we show up with like crappy clothes and whatever. But my mom and dad wanted us to get a good education. And I remember guys making fun of my shoes and that kind of stuff, you know, teasing you and whatever. But then, you know, my dad started his career as a doctor again and blew up, did amazing. And, you know, he regained his status, if you will, or whatever. We had a really good life with him. He always provided for us and then some, you know. My mom had, she was a nurse. She had a degree in psychology. She was a really well-educated woman, you know. She always taught us that education was important. So I knew I would get a degree in something, you know.
Yeah.
So
at what point do you you swap lives again? So you start wealthy, you go poor, then you're wealthy again, and then there's some point where you come to America. And what time period is that in your world?
So I was 21 years old when I came to the States. I had just served a mission, an LDS mission in Venezuela. Right after the mission, all the missionaries that came from Utah, dude, come to Utah, come to BYU, whatever. I'm like, sure, I'll go to BYU. I'll go to Utah. So I told my mom and dad that I wanted to come to the States to get a degree, and, even though my dad was doing well, paying for school here is really expensive, because the currency over there is trash over here. You exchange it for dollars, you're like nothing. So 21 years old, came to the States. My dad gave me enough money for my first semester and just money for rent and whatever, like $2,000 of spending money kind of thing. So I knew I had to work and figure out how to support myself and pay for school, but I was committed to getting a degree here. So I remember arriving here on October 10th of, I think it was 1992. And my first semester started January. So I had literally 2.5 months to learn English.
Oh, to learn English.
Yeah,
you haven't even learned English at this point.
But I knew January 6th or 7th, I'm in college. So I got to learn the language. And dude, I read so many Time magazines, you have no idea, with a dictionary, translating entire articles, listening to the radio, and, just talking, just kind of, I got to learn the language. And my brother and I learned the language in 3 months.
It's like you're going to play professional soccer, but you don't even know how to run.
It was crazy, dude. I remember going to college, and I'm sitting there, and my first class was economics, macroeconomics, and half the vocabulary was like economics, and I'm like, what? What is this class all about? So it was challenging, dude. It was, but we did all right.
Was there any pushback to you leaving Venezuela?
My mom didn't want me to. My mom was set in me staying in Venezuela. She's like, you can, she had sayings. She always had a saying for things like bird in the hand kind of thing. She had a million of those. And one that she told me when I told her I was coming, she's like, if you stay here, in Spanish, tú vas a ser la cabeza del león, meaning you're going to be the head of the lion. If you go there, vas a ser la cola del ratón, which means you're going to be the tail of the rat, which was her warning, saying, you're going to be an immigrant there. You don't speak English. You have very little money to go over there. So it's a questionable future. You stay here. Your dad's a doctor. You can be a doctor.
Yeah,
the world is your oyster.
Your projection is to be like a king there, pretty.
Yeah,
I could have really.
I was going to do medical school there. In fact, I did 1 semester of medical school there. And I was going to be a doctor, but then I realized I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a businessman.
Well, you've done well at that.
So yeah, I came to the States with the challenge from my mom you're going to be a tail of the rat. And in my mind, that registered. And that was a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, I tell you what, I'm going to be the head of the lion over there. That's a challenge. So let's go do that, And that was the thing. I wanted to to me, the finish line was already there. I just had to be there. In my vision was to have a successful business. My goal, my dream was to be like a C-level executive for some multinational American company running LATAM, and whatever. I actually got a job offer to do that. And I was already running my company. I'm like, that's what I wanted to do, But, kind of life takes its own course. I ended up getting an MBA at the University of Utah, in international business. And I did some international business along the way in my career.
Yeah.
I ran marketing agencies for 25 years. And I was pretty good at it. I was a CEO my entire career. Yeah. And I don't know what it was. It clicked. It made sense. Running a company made sense. Having the discipline, financial aptitude and all that just made sense. It just kind of.
And also when he says like marketing agency, it's like not some small time marketing agency. He's working with ones. Apple and,
some big ones.
biggest names.
The biggest one I had was Dialogue, which is still around. It's called Dialogue Direct. You can look them up. They're over 600 million in sales right now, and they work with huge brands. But dude, I work with Pepsi, with Frito-Lay, United Healthcare, Bank of America. I mean, some thumbtack, huge brands. And I got to meet the C-level people in those companies. And I was a rounding error compared to those companies. But I feel like the little thing we did really well. And even in my last company with working with Squeeze, we did big things for big companies that it was a small element of everything they do, but the service we provided was pretty valuable to them.
Well, I think it's the value of you can go a mile wide or a mile deep, and it sounds
Mhm.
like you guys knew your niche and
Yeah.
you went really specific and got really great in that niche.
Yeah.
I'm curious, from being in America from now, or from when you got there to now, what have been a couple of the most pivotal moments you've experienced?
Um, Financially, my first exit was an amazing experience and a rewarding experience because I started my first company in 2012, right after a divorce. So imagine you're broke financially, you're broke, emotionally, like a divorce will, as guys that have gone through this, it breaks you, you know. So having to build a company from the ground up, right as you're going through that process was pretty challenging. But having success within a year or two, I had a good, awesome business partner, my buddy Wilson. He and I built this company, and within 2 years, dude, we were like printing money. Basically, we're like, holy crap, dude! Like this is amazing. And we started with nothing. We had a PowerPoint and a hope and a prayer, dude. 2 years later, we're like, we have huge names in our roster of accounts that we're servicing, and we're up to 700 employees, and we're crushing it. And that took 2 years.
2 years to 700 employees.
Yeah.
With big names. Wow.
Yeah, over 14 million in sales, and we were just killing it, loving what we were doing, expanding, blowing up. And then we get an offer to merge with another company. A year later, we get an acquisition by United Healthcare, which was insane. It just all happened so fast. But that first exit was like, yeah, I can do this. It was like, I got it. Yeah, I know how to do this. And then so that was rewarding because it was one of those things that you finally get the gratification of you did it.
Yeah.
Like, I did it. I did this.
So if Angelo was coming to you saying, I want to start this other business in marketing, do you have any advice to give me? What would you want to tell your son?
To chase meaning. Chase meaning. Don't chase money. I feel like guys that chase money never find meaning. They're just chasing money. But if you chase meaning, if you really want to be good at what you do, create value in a unique way, the money comes. And that's been one of my mantras. It's what I do has to have meaning. If I'm providing marketing services, I need to be so good at it that the value that I'm providing, that our company is providing to my clients is so overwhelming. It's not a 2x or it's a 10x. And if I can deliver that, that's meaningful, money will come. The brands will come. The referrals will come. So deliver meaning,
I like that. Then like setting up a business, any advice on that? Because I know with our demographic, we have a lot of starting entrepreneurs that have, there's different levels to it, obviously. But
yeah, find the right partner. I like having a partner. I've always had a partner in my business. And I like having a partner that's different than me. If you have two guys that always agree, fire one of them. Have a partner that doesn't necessarily agree with you, that brings a different perspective, number one. And number two, commit. Fully commit. Commit to your partner and commit to your business. Because if you're not...
What does that look like?
I'll give you an example, dude. My first business, right after that divorce, 6 months in, we were broke. We had put all the money, Wilson and I had put all of our money into this business. 6 months in, we're running out of cash. We're still hoping for that one client that's going to come that allows us to pay the bills. I received a call from a recruiter who knew me from my prior C-level positions and stuff. He's like, dude, I got the job for you. Come take this. I'm like, I can't. No. I tell him to go away. A month later, he comes back. I've got another one for you. Come interview with this guy. they're looking for a chief operating officer, company named Thumbtack. Come take this interview. Comp, giant pay, all these things. Like it solves a lot of problems in my life at that point. And I go to this interview, and I was reluctant to go, but I was tempted to go because I knew what it meant financially, So I go talk to Jonathan, who was the founder of Thumbtack, and he looks just like you, young kid, and he was probably 28. I'm 43, or whatever I was at the time. I'm talking to this guy, and he's like sharp, techie, all this energy. And he's like, "Yep, you go." I can tell there was a connection. And as we're going through this interview, I'm like, dude, I can't take this job. It just hit me that I couldn't do this to my partner, Wilson. I felt a commitment to him, to like, I'm not going to leave him hanging. I felt like it was so like two opposite ends pulling, and I told him, I can't take this job, but I tell you what, I can do all of these that you want. You want to build a sales force, you want to build a whole marketing engine to build your business. I can do that as your partner. You don't have to hire me as your COO. I can do this as your vendor partner. Let me do that for you. He's like, no, we want to do it in-house and this and that, but we'll think about it. I don't hear anything. Shake hands, walk away. And I made it very clear I was not interested in a job offer. 2 or 3 weeks later, I get a LinkedIn message, and all it says from John is like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, here comes Thumbtack, dude. And that was our big win. And it changed the company. It put us on the map. And from then on, it was one big name after another. And it blew up. And had I not committed, I'd probably still be working for someone, making a couple $100,000 a year, punching the clock, chasing money, But I chose to be committed to Wilson and to what we were building. And it paid off, And the reward was that our business took off. And you got to stick with it. There's never know when the business is going to take off. But if you're not fully committed, if you're one leg in, leg out, it's not going to happen. If you're switching gears every year, you have a new flavor, you're not committed. And if you're not committed, the world knows you're not. So nobody's going to trust you with their money, with their business, if you are not committed. And I don't care who you are. People can read commitment.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. And I've seen people that hop around, and it's like there's a different level of confidence that you have in those people, and you hope they figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like you have to go through the trenches of your own thing to make it in your own thing.
Yeah.
I've never spoke with anyone that's made it on a big level that did not go through their valley of hardship in business.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned in that.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and if you don't want to talk about it, it's also okay. But what happens to you when you go through a divorce? Like, what does that do to you?
Well, there's different flavors of divorce, I guess.
Yeah.
People divorce for different reasons. I always, I've had this conversation. It's funny because guys that have gone through divorce, we were open with each other about the crap we dealt with, and how tough it was. And everybody's had a different experience. But, it for me, it was really painful to go through that. But it changed my perspective in how I needed to be a better husband and a better father, Because, it takes two to tango, and it takes two to get a divorce, I was so committed to my job at the time. I was gone always, So that led to a divorce that, it made me sad how it impacted my kids more than anything. I did not want them, Angelo and Alex, I did not want them to experience that. So I did what I could to keep it together, but it was just too late. I showed up too late, you know. Um, I remarried a year later, and it's been a completely different life with Jamie. She's a sweetheart, and she's the best mom, an amazing wife, and she's one of those, like, no matter what I do, you're amazing. She says I'm good looking. I'm like, I'm her Hispanic George Clooney, and I'm like, you're blind, you know.
No, that just got put
She's
together for me. Yeah, you
yeah,
got
no,
it a little bit.
she builds me up, and it's just, you know, a different flavor of a marriage that I love, you know.
Mm.
I think I learned that I need to give more as a husband and as a father, you know. Um, I mean, divorce is tough, dude, and it happens so often. It breaks my heart when guys talk about their experience. I've been there, and it's painful. But you rebuild, you get back up, and you know, it's one of those things. You lose one title. I remember we all carry titles, and the title of husband went away all of a sudden, and I'm like, I remember talking to my brother one day, one of those crying sessions, and I'm like pissed off about the world. It's like, Hondo, you still have all the other titles. You know, this doesn't define you. You're still a CEO. You're still a founder. You're still a priesthood holder. You're still a father. You're still a brother. You're still a son. You're still all these things. And it kind of, I remember that conversation. It was a reset for me. I'm like, you're right. You know, it doesn't define me. You know, yeah, it was part of the journey, I guess. You know, I got to learn some lessons on that, and humility and self-love, and you know, I figured I'd be a dad. I'm just gonna be a dad. And then I met Jamie. I wasn't on a dating app or anything like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna go on that. I was so like, no, I'm just gonna focus on my new company that I'm starting, and I'm gonna be a dad. And then Jamie showed up, and she's amazing. She's just the love of my life. I just couldn't be happier, you know.
What do you feel like it takes to be a well-rounded dad?
I don't know, dude. I don't know that I'm well rounded. I'm just a funny, playful dad. I'm my kid's favorite. And I know that for a fact. Like Angelo, he's 27 years old, and his homies like to hang out with me. They don't do it as a courtesy. They invite me to hang out because I'm a good time.
There you go.
You know? So I think for me as a dad, I've always wanted to be the fun dad, the playful dad that my kids' friends can relate to. So they feel comfortable coming home, so they feel comfortable coming to me and talking to me about whatever. You know, Angelo's best friend is my unadopted son to me, Styles. He asked me to marry them, which was such an honor. So I officiated in their wedding, you know, and they come home all the time. And that's not just Styles. It's like a lot of their friends, Alexa's friends or Angela's friends or now Liam's friends, love to come to the house because we have a good time, you know. So for me, I don't know if it's well-rounded or not, but being a friend and being someone that your kids can talk to about anything, and I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
To Angelo, I'm just another dude. To my dad, I'm just a hilarious dad that is tough to have a serious conversation with, you know. But I guess they like that, you know.
Well, I think you hit on something that's so important, and that's just creating a comfortable space that feels safe to talk about anything with your kids. And I've worked with troubled youth, and typically some of the biggest problems was that they felt like they had nowhere to go to where there'd be a safe place for them to talk about what's actually happening with their life. And so it might sound lighthearted and, you know, being the funny, like fun dad, but that also has created a comfortability where I imagine when your family's going through hard things, like you can talk about that a little bit, and there's a lot of power in building those safety nets, and so I think that's amazing, and it's more than just being one of their friends. I guarantee they have a level of respect for you that's very different. with your story, it's so amazing to see where you came from and like see the man that I get to sit and learn from today. And so I hope you feel really proud of what you've been able to do. And I'm just curious, if today was your last day,
Mhm.
how would you want to be remembered? How would you want your kids to think of you?
Hmm. It's funny. We had my birthday was like 3 weeks ago, and we had a little dinner, and um, my wife asked everyone to go around the table and tell what they like about me. What's your favorite thing about Hondo? And I want to be remembered by all those things that they said around the table. And some of those included that I'm um, giving and generous, and I don't deal with for the recognition. I believe that the more you give, the more you get. What I've been blessed with is not mine; it's mine to give, and I do my best to help my family in Chile, um, financially and otherwise. I do my best to help others around me, financially and otherwise, because I believe that God gives us what we have as a test. It's like the talents in the scriptures, you know. If you hide them, you know, you're an unprofitable child. But if you share them and grow them, and you can take that parable in a million different ways. To me, it's the talents were given, the gifts were given are to be shared. So I want to be remembered. And I want my kids to learn from me that to give is part of what we're here to do. Um, and I want to be remembered to be a good friend, a loyal friend, and a loyal partner, and trustworthy, I guess, you know. Um, and I want to be remembered for not being religious, but being faithful. Because I'm not religious. I swear up a storm. Most people think I'm a druggie and I drink alcohol. I don't. I talk nonsense because it's funny. But I don't take myself very seriously. But I do take my relationship with God very seriously. And it's very private. It's one thing that I hold very dear to me is what he means to me and what my relationship means to me. But it's not religious. I'm not running to be the next bishop or the next stake. No, I don't care. I'm one of those guys that shows up to church without a tie because I don't want to. I don't want to wear it on my sleeve. My relationship with God is my relationship with God. I don't want to conform to, you know, the,
Yeah.
the standard, if you will.
Yeah.
But I want to be remembered because I had faith in Him. You know.
And if there's one message that you could share to our audience or shout from a mountaintop, what would that be?
One message. Um, that's a really good question. There's a lot of messages, but you know, show your love with actions. You know, not just words. Whatever you love in life, show it with your actions. Whether it's your family or your work or whatever you're passionate about, show it with pride. You know, with your actions.
I love that. I just to wrap up, I think a lot of the things that I have been thinking about and feeling like through our conversation is there's just no excuse to not be able to be um, successful. You
Mm-hmm.
wherever you come from, whatever your obstacles are, um, you've been given talents. Everyone has been given talents, and you can choose to utilize them and
Mm-hmm.
get through the trials, the hardships, and you can come out and help other people get through those hard moments too. And also, it was so special to hear you talk about your daughter and that whole experience is so cool.
Mm.
Um, so just thank you for sharing that. And I know the people at home, uh, they got a lot out of this and they're going to want to see more of you. And so where can our audience find you?
Um, I'm not. I'm not on social media like most people. I mean, I have an Instagram, but like a couple hundred followers or whatever. And what I post is mostly things about cycling, which is
Yeah.
my side passion.
Just in case you get hit by a bus.
Or another bus. So Club Paddock is our website for my business, clubpaddock.com. Our Instagram is clubpaddock_. So you can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn, but I haven't done anything on LinkedIn since I left the business world. So I don't post there much anymore. But you can always find me at the club. If you want to come hang out, come see it.
There you go. And honestly, Club Paddock is unreal. It's one of my favorite locations to be at with a lot of people. And every time I've been there, sincerely, it's very high-end people that I want to be with.
Yeah.
And so more than anything, I'm grateful that you came on today, and thank you for being here.
Yeah,
and
thanks
thank
so
you
much
for sharing.
Yeah, it was great. Appreciate it.